being said, it's time for our next panelist. Are you guys ready for the next person? If so, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Come on. It's time for Miss Gabriella Pizzolo!
Oh my gosh, how's it going? Oh my goodness. I love seeing all of the Stranger Things cosplays. I love it. I've been seeing people all weekend. It makes me so happy because you all look like you could literally be straight out of the show. It's amazing. I love it. You all are gonna win the cosplay contest. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
So basically she just said you're all gonna win as a group.
Yes.
As a group. Everybody out here.
It's a secret surprise tie, and everyone wearing a Stranger Things outfit wins. So I don't know. I guess you're gonna have to enter.
I guess that means no cosplay contest. It's over because she's just decided. That's what it is.
Actually, yes. You're right there. Yeah, you all won in my hearts.
Okay, so you guys know how this works. We have a live mic up here in the front. If you have a question that you want to ask, don't be shy. Don't hesitate. Come on up and line up. When she and I get to a logical stopping point, we will get to your questions and we'll go from there. If the entire panel is just questions, you know what? That's totally fine with us.
Yeah.
If it's just she and I talking and hanging out, like I say, like we are in the living room just chilling out. You guys want to come over and hang out in our living room for a little bit and be a part of the conversation, by all means, do so.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool living room.
Isn't it? It's very large.
I like this living room.
Very large living room, is it not?
Yeah.
You know what? I like this. She's like, I'm not
Yay!
waiting. I am not waiting. I'm getting up here in the front of the line right now. What is your name and what is your question for Gabriella?
My name is Jenna, and my question is, how do you get into character?
Ooh, I feel like, especially with Suzie on the show, she's a super character-y character. I feel like a lot of the things that I did, especially for season 4, was hanging out with my family, my huge family in Salt Lake City, and all of the kids in there, and it was like kind of a riot every single time I saw them, because I pretty much think that 18 conversations happened at the same time with all of those kids there. If you've seen the part of the show where they show the siblings, there's a lot of them. So getting to hang out with them, and especially Audrey, who plays Eden, my sister, getting to hang out with her really got me into character. And also just messing around with Gaten whenever we had stuff on the walkie-talkies and on the Cerebro. He's one of the most fun people to banter with, and getting to do that was always a blast, and it still is so much fun. And I feel like it really gets me into like the Suzie-Dustin dynamic, and I love it. It's perfect. It makes it so easy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. All right, my Back to the Future friend. What is your name for her, and what is your question?
My name's Hannah, and my question is, what was your favorite line from the show?
Favorite line ever, or favorite line that she did?
Both.
Okay. Favorite line in the history of Stranger Things. You have 3 seconds to figure it out, and go.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love the whole part where this is so hard. I was seeing images. I was seeing images of every single scene that I remember loving. I love the monologue for Dear Billy. Sadie Sink is so incredible and like had everyone bawling by the end of it. But the whole letter to Billy, and then I also really love the scene in the car with Will and Mike when he's talking about the painting and how much Mike keeps them all together and is the heart. Kind of sappy, but I really love that part. And I think in terms of me, that it's very easy. I will repent later. My favorite line that she says. She's got a lot of really good ones, but I think that one really stuck, like with being attached to the character, and I see it all the time, and I think it's the funniest thing. and obviously also the song. I feel like any of the lines in the song, if you can count them as lines, even though they're technically singing, I really love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next up, coming up to the mic, what is your name? What is your question?
My name is Cece, and I was wondering which one of your favorite cast members do you like to work with the most? I know Gaten's probably a favorite, but do you have another one?
Okay, so the question for those of you out there, if you couldn't hear it, the question was, what is your favorite cast member that you like working with, whether it was Gaten or someone else?
Yeah. I feel like I get asked this a lot, and it really changes depending on who is at the con with me, because I usually am with a lot of other Stranger Things people, and I get to hang out with them all the time, and it's really, really great. But on set specifically, I had so much fun hanging out with Noah Schnapp. He was just delightful. Everything that he brings to Will is so great, but even outside of that, it's funny because we actually live in a really, maybe 10 minutes away from each other in New York, and so I see him all the time, and it's super fun, and getting to hang out with him is always the best. I remember one of the days we were on set, they always set up fun lunch break activities, and so he and I signed up to do a workout challenge to win a t-shirt. We ended up winning it, and we had to share the t-shirt because it was only one. We didn't actually. I think I gave it to him.
I was going to say, did you have a custody arrangement? He gets every other weekend and Wednesday nights?
Yeah, no, we ship it back and forth to each other. No, I think I gave it to him, but it was super fun. And then right after that, I had him take the Pottermore test because he was like, I don't know what house I am. What is this? And we were like, oh my gosh, you have to do it. So it's always one thing right on to the next with him. And it's great that we get to live so close to each other because I always run into him and we always get to hang out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, next up, what's your name? What's your question?
My name is Samantha, and my question is, what's your favorite song on the whole soundtrack, of the show?
What's your favorite song that's not Never Ending Story?
But it's not Never Ending Story.
That would be too easy.
Yeah. I really do. Ooh, I love Kate Bush. It's got to be Running Up That Hill because I love how much they used it, and I love Kate Bush. I think it's super. It's such a light and fun sort of remembering last summer when it came out and that was everything that played ever. But you can sit and listen to it and it gets so deep at certain points, if you just listen to it a few times. So I also really love that, and I love the connection it has to the entire fourth season. And I think that that, and then the exception being a lot of the stuff that they actually orchestrated for the show, I also really love that in the soundtrack. Just all of the music that they have that's original is so cool, all of the scoring. So those are my favorites, definitely. And I love your sweatshirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Steve is the babysitter.
I'm going to carry on that question real quick.
Yes.
So you just said that Running Up That Hill, that song was just everywhere. Isn't it wild seeing a show that was set in the 80s that has been able to reinvigorate so many songs? Master of Puppets, that one,
Yes.
Never Ending Story. You guys have really been able to bring that culture that was literally there before you guys even existed on the planet. Is it neat for you guys being able to experience that, not just that's for the old people. That's hey, we've actually made this new and refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even before I was on the show and I was a huge fan of the show, I loved how universal they made it. I think that a lot of kids today can really relate to what the kids in the show go through, and it really pulls them in as a group, but you've also got all of the parents watching with them who grew up with all of that stuff, and I think that that's I would watch it with my mom, and it was a super nostalgia factor for her. She was like, I had that clock, I had that coat, oh my gosh. And even grandparents that I watch with are I remember having kids when they would play D&D all day, and I remember when my kids would do this, and I think I love the way that Stranger Things not only resurfaces a lot of great music and culture, it also ties almost everyone together in a way that I never thought possible. And I think it's really cool to get to see that happen.
Excellent. All right, next up in the line, what is your name? What is your question?
My name is Arian, and my question is, what is the funniest thing you've seen on set?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think I got it. There's a lot of people on set who love just playing around with each other. There's a lot of pranksters in the cast that battle with each other, and I think that's super fun. And it always, you never know what to expect on set, and that's what makes it so exciting to be there. But one of the days, it actually was when we were all improvising in the scene where I'm talking to the rest of the California crew about just basically, 16-bit. Why have I never heard of it? And all of this stuff where they're telling me I have to hack in and get the stuff from the base that I don't know is a base. They started saying, okay, the director was like, okay, why don't we improv a few? We'll do some wild ones. And the stuff that Eduardo, who plays Argyle, the stuff that he comes up with on the spot, out of nowhere, is so funny. We had to keep stopping in the middle because he would keep going and everyone would start losing it, and they were like, well, we can't use that. And at one point, I was like, unfortunately, there's been an unfortunate development. And he goes, whoa, hold up. Is Dustin pregnant? And I don't know how he thought of that in the moment, but it was one of the best moments that I think I've had on set, because everyone started laughing just because they were shocked that he thought of that, and it was so priceless because he was so in it. And they were like, oh, we have to use that one, and they never ended up using it. But I think people don't realize how much, especially him and a lot of the other people, improv, and that's what ends up being there. And people just think it's in the script, but it's totally not. It's awesome how the show develops with the people, and I think it's great that we get the liberty to do that. It's super great.
Hey, thank you very much. All right, next up, what's your name? What's your question?
Hi, I'm Mariah. I'm wondering why you decided to play the character Suzie?
Say that again?
Why you decided to play Suzie?
Why I decided to play Suzie. Okay. I think that I had heard about Stranger Things before it had ever come out. And it was because everyone I knew was auditioning for it back when it was going by this code name, Montauk. And it was based off of the stuff that happened in Montauk, Long Island, all of the studies and experiments that were conducted. And so everyone was like, yeah, have you auditioned for Montauk? They're looking for kids. And I was like, what is this Montauk? And as soon as Stranger Things came out, everyone kind of connected that a lot of the scenes were the same, and they were like, oh, it was for Stranger Things. And so when I auditioned for Suzie in the 3rd season, I read the audition scene, and I obviously knew Gaten was going to be the scene partner that I had, and I think I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I get to sing, and I get to sing with Gaten, and that it would be such an incredible thing to get to do and have recorded, especially because we grew up together, Gaten and I. We met when I was 7 or 8, and we were both kids on Broadway together, and he was in Les Mis, and I was doing my own show, and we basically just became the best of friends. We would play outside on the streets together, and I think growing up with him really made me appreciate the show for what it was, because all of the kids I knew before it even started, and it was something really great to get to do, and I knew I had to get Suzie because one, I love the original Neverending Story song and the movie, and two, I mean, getting to do it with one of my best friends is like an incredible way to reunite. And so I was super determined, and I ended up getting it, and that was just like the ultimate win. I was so excited.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. All right, next up, I think that she likes your shirt.
I think I do.
All right, what's your name? Don't be afraid to take the mic and tilt it downward so you can be heard as well. All right, so what is your name and what is your question?
My name is Haley, and my question is, did you want to play Suzie or did you want to play another role?
So the question is, did you want to play Suzie or did you want to play another role?
That's interesting. All right. I feel like I definitely really wanted to play just anyone in the show, but specifically Suzie because of the singing and because of how fun and funny and quirky it can get, like having dialogue with her as a character. But I think that I also, if I had to choose, I would really want to be one of the people that they got to do the effects for the Demogorgon or the Demodogs. Any of those, like, I feel would be so fun to get to try and do. I know they had people going around as the Demodogs in season 2, and they actually like did all of the effects on them, and I think that would be super, super fun. Obviously, no one can outdo Mark, who is the original Demogorgon. He is really great and really terrifying at doing that. But I think that getting to do one of those would be cool. And then, of course, I mean, all of the other women in the show have really incredible storylines, and any of the roles that I could have auditioned for, I would have. And I feel like it really wouldn't be the same. And I really love the people that they got for everything that they did, because I feel like they all make it so unique to them, and really enhance the show. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
We met yesterday.
Yes.
I wanted to know if you could tell us a little of like the backside of when you recorded Neverending Story, and if you guys were actually together when you recorded it, and like how you guys did that scene a little bit, and just how all that came together. Were you with them, or were you in a different room,
Right.
and just how that all happened, and did you have fun with it? Were they kind of making fun of him when they, or how all this happened? Did you have fun, or like just tell us a little bit of the backstory?
Yeah. Okay. So the funniest thing that most people don't realize is that we sang the Neverending Story song together, Gaten and I. We sang it many, many times. It was a 12-hour day, around, maybe a little bit longer. And we basically were just doing that part for almost the entire day. And we were singing it all live. They wanted to do it live. They wanted it to sound like two kids from a science camp who really weren't great at singing, but just were having fun with it. So they really wanted to get the live vocals for that, just in case we slipped in anything like fun or cute. And after a while, we started getting really exhausted from singing, and like my voice was giving out, his voice was giving out, but it was really, really fun getting to do that. And most people think that we went to a recording studio or like kind of had to like be with each other to do that, but I just had an earpiece in, and Gaten was back in another set, and I could hear him, and he would sing along with me. And then I did the same thing when he was on the hill, which actually is right outside the set, just in a parking lot, with a blue screen. And I sang for him, and basically that's how it ended up being, is it was the two of us just a few feet away from each other, singing to each other all day long. But I gotta say, having Gaten in my ear all day long, I was never tired, never bored, could not get annoyed by that, no.
Very cool, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, next up, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Alexis, and my
question is, what was your I made it moment?
Oh, I made it moment. Ooh. I feel like, especially in terms of Stranger Things, I feel like it has to be, as a teenager, seeing the sound of Neverending Story become like such a viral thing and a huge moment. I remember people started writing articles about it just because it was a huge viral thing, and like Millie created the Neverending Story Challenge, and a lot of it was really just totally bigger and more, I guess, successful than I thought it was going to be. I thought, yeah, of course, people are going to love hearing Gaten sing. The whole point of writing that scene was because so many fans were begging to hear one of the Broadway kids actually sing in the show. And it made so much sense to have Gaten do that. And I was like, oh, this is the perfect scene and people are going to love it. But I had no idea that it was going to be as big as it was in terms of just like the song being used for a lot of things. And I think like the full I Made It was just like getting to see Gaten and I like kind of recreate this song that already existed and like really get such positive feedback about it. Because I really do feel like the original song was such a staple of my childhood, having two parents who grew up with that. And so getting to get such a positive reaction about that was like totally fulfilling, and it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, next up. What's your name? What's your question?
Hi, I'm Allison. We met yesterday.
Yes. Oh my gosh, hi.
Hi. Speaking of Broadway, what is your favorite musical?
Ooh, okay. I have so many. I have so many. I love Sweeney Todd, which Gaten is in on Broadway right now. So that's very, very exciting. And Gaten and I had so many conversations about how much we loved that show before there was even word of him getting to be a part of a Broadway production of it, which I think is really, really funny. And I also really love Ragtime, Little Shop of Horrors. I saw someone dressed as Seymour the other day, and it was so awesome. And I've always said, Gaten and I, our go-to like karaoke song is actually not Neverending Story when we're together. It's Suddenly Seymour. So it's really fun to get to see other people who are here be dressed as like people from that world as well, even though Little Shop is also a movie. I think that the cross, I love any just like horror musicals and the crossing of how that works. So getting to be here and see people who actually know that makes me so happy, and I love it.
Thank you.
Hey, stay up here real quick. I want you to just turn around for a second and face the audience. So look at her shirt. She's wearing a shirt for the Losers Club from It.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask Suzie, or I'm going to ask Gabriella a question about this shirt. So I asked the It guys the same question yesterday.
Oh.
There's a lot of movie franchises that are about 80s bike riding kids, that young teens that are about to save the world. You got Super 8 and the Goonies and It and Stranger Things. To you, what makes the group in your movie better than all the rest?
Whoa, okay.
Okay, you can sit down now. You don't have to stand in guys' movie. I wasn't trying to embarrass you. I saw your shirt like that. I already had that question ready to go, and I'm like, that was perfect timing.
Ooh. Oh gosh, that's really, really hard. I feel like I love all of the groups so much, and especially Stranger Things has a super special place in my heart. I feel like one of the things that makes the group of kids in Stranger Things so special is that not only do you get to see them in a TV show, not in a movie franchise, it's in a TV show setting where you get to every single season check in with them as they're a year or two older and have the experience of seeing them really not just grow in a moment of realizing something and having a change in emotion, but like having physical change happen and seeing how they grow. I think it's also pretty cool to have someone as powerful as 11 a part of your group. I think that, I don't know, if they were all put up against each other, I don't know, I feel like Stranger Things has the most willpower to destroy monsters. I feel like they got a lot. They got a lot going for them, especially with people with insane superpowers.
That's a great answer, good job.
Yeah.
If you picked anything other than your own franchise, I would have been kind of bummed, but I wanted to see how you that was the right answer. You always staying on brand. Good stuff.
I do have to say though, getting to hang out with the kids from IT this weekend has been very, very fun, and I think that they also have a lot to offer when it comes to defeating monsters. They're pretty good too.
Oh yeah, they're all great guys. I'm so happy I got to do a panel with them. Such great people. All right, somebody else on the line. What is your name? What is your question?
My name is Sherry, and I and my husband were very lucky to see you in Fun Home when you came to Orlando to support the Pulse shooting fundraiser.
Wow.
So it was fantastic. So my question is, what was it like being a young person in such like a really heavy topic show night after night?
Yeah, I never get asked about this, and this is so interesting because I don't think I've met a person since that benefit concert that we did who says that they've actually been there, so that's amazing. Oh gosh, I remember that night so specifically. For people who don't know, I was in a Broadway show called Fun Home, and it was about really relevant topics when marriage was being legalized in 2015, I believe. And I think doing a show with all of those, heavy topics kind of made me the person that I am. I think that I delved into educating myself and really kind of learning about every perspective from a very, very young age. And I really felt as a kid like the weight of the situation. And a lot of the times I would go and work as a political advocate at places where laws were being made in support with the show. So I feel like a lot of that has made me the passionate person that I am. I feel like I'm really, really passionate about a lot of topics now because of how hyper aware I was of all of the situations and all of the pressing matters happening in the 2010s and even now. And I feel like it really was incredible and life-changing to be a part of a show like that, but even more so to come out of it as interested and I guess like changed thought as I was. I feel like everything in the show I completely connected with, and it just made me a really advocate type person, and I really don't know who I'd be if I wasn't that. So I think that's probably what I would say. I could go on for hours and hours, but...
And you rock the Keys song.
Oh, thank you. I love that song. One of my favorites.
Okay, so we're going to go back to a couple of the iconic things. Obviously, Never Ending Story is attached to your name probably for the rest of your career, which is a great thing.
Probably, yeah.
Not a lot of actors or actresses get to say that there is this thing that is become iconic, like a comma at the end of their name, that is a part of their, like, some people they want to be the D&D or the doctor, and you're like Suzie and Gabriella, comma, Never Ending Story.
Yes.
Has there been a point at any time since then when that song went as big as it did that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't hear Never Ending Story again today. I've heard it 175 million times. I need a break. Or are you just like, you know what? I'm rolling with it as I have it.
You know what? I know that Gaten, who plays Dustin, he really has shown publicly that he doesn't want to be attached to the song. He just doesn't like it, and he does get tired of it really fast, especially because of how much it's played around him. People really, really played a lot around him. But I feel feel like sometimes I'll be in a restaurant or I'll be out in public and all of a sudden I'll hear the song start playing and like I feel like it almost like it kind of amps me up. Like I feel like excited when I hear it, and I feel like every single time it restarts, I feel the same way all over again, and I've never gotten tired of it. I feel like that's the one good thing, because I would expect that I would, but I haven't, and I really do love that because it's such a special moment for me, and I feel like it's something that I really do still love to hear, and especially when it shows up just out of the blue, it kind of makes my day, and it's not so much a reality check, but it feels like I get to like kind of touch base with myself, and I like hear my younger self, and I'm like, I've grown so much, and it's nice to hear from myself then.
So, in the show, you start off with the small group of boys at the very beginning, and the group has slightly increased over time. Certain characters that come in become a part of the bike riding kind of gang.
Yeah.
And certain characters are there, but they're kind of secondary characters. Suzie doesn't really, especially in season 4, she's not there with that group. Do you wish that your character could have become like the Sadie Sink, where she's now like, you don't think about that group of kids without her being there? Do you wish that Suzie could have been there, or do you like Suzie kind of still being the distance character?
I don't know. I feel like I really do enjoy the whole bit of like, I came in for like 5 minutes, did something that like helped them really progress their entire mission, and then just like peaced out. Like I really do like how funny that is, because it has happened at least 2 times now in the last 2 seasons, and I also really enjoy that. I think that it would be really fun, especially because season 5 is going to be the last season of this exact story and this exact set of people all together. I think it would be cool to get to see someone who's been on the outside for so long finally be in with the group. And I feel like, you know, you gotta have a reunion with Suzie and Dustin. They've never seen each other in person since back before we even knew Suzie exist. And I think that is something that I really hope happens. So, you know, if anyone out there is listening, if the Duffers are listening, I think Suzie needs to at least meet Dustin once. I mean, it's been so long at this point. It's gotta happen.
She's like, I'm not breaking any NDAs. I'm just gonna say.
No. I'm just gonna lightly suggest that they write that, because that would be great.
So if we see that happen in the movie, you guys are all witnesses. This started right here on this panel stage.
This started here, and it's because of you all.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, somebody else up here at the mic. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Katrina, and my question is, throughout your career, both on Broadway and Stranger Things and other things, how much time have you spent in special effects makeup, and what's your least favorite piece to be applied?
Ooh. You know, the interesting thing is, I don't think that a lot of special effects makeup has been, you know, used on me. I've seen so much with the shows that I'm on, but specifically, one thing that I really did have to do a lot is for another show that I'm on. It's Pretty Little Liars, and in the new reboot that they just did. And I'm basically, if anybody knows the original story of Pretty Little Liars, I'm the A of the group. I'm like the Allison, and they flash back to like what happened before I left, and it's super, super gory, and it's very, very bloody, and I have like, I'm drenched in blood, and I have fake limbs, and I think that I didn't even hate having the limbs like on or anything. I think the one thing that was really hard is we had to find the right angles, so it looked like those were the real ones and the ones that I actually had were fake or just non-existent. And it did take a while, especially because when I did the most of that, it was the very first episode and the first scene they shot. So getting to work that out was kind of a lot. But I think especially with that, I look back at at like all of the stuff from that episode, and I just remember exactly how it felt versus how well it looks, you know, fully fledged and edited and everything. And it's nothing like how I remember it being. I remember like a lot of, especially with the fake limbs, I remember like, oh, my arm was there in this part, and they totally edited it to make it look like it's not. And I feel like getting to watch it and appreciate it for that just kind of makes it more fun to watch, honestly. And I like that. I like that. Do you work in special effects? Do you like special effects?
I work for Universal, so I get to see it being done a lot.
Because I was going to say that's so specific, and I really do appreciate everything that they do, because honestly I've had some of the most fun on set just working with specifically effects people. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, this is going to be the last question from the Peanut Gallery, from the audience. I'm just kidding. I love you guys so much for coming up here to the microphone and stepping out of your comfort zone. For people like she and I, getting in front of a group of people is not a big deal. We know that it's not the same for everybody else, and so we do appreciate you guys taking your time and stepping out of the comfort zone and getting in front of the mic. We do appreciate it very much.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
With that being said, this is going to be the most important question asked in the history of questions at a panel right now.
Ever.
No pressure at all. Totally just kidding. What's your name? What's your question?
You're not Robin, right? Your name's not Robin.
No.
Okay, you're just dressed like Robin. Okay.
I'm Cheyenne, and I'm wondering, do you have any recommendations for having a acting career, like people who want to pursue that career?
Yeah, I definitely do. I have so many suggestions. I could write an entire like handbook if I wanted to, and I still feel like I haven't learned everything that I need to know about being an actor. But I think one of the most important things that I have learned is to have a lot of people in your life who support you and have that really solid support system, and stick with them forever and ever, because I feel like when you need it most and things are, whether they're really great or they're really bad or they feel that way, those people bring you back to a history, a shared history, reality, and it's really, really important. And I also feel like having really specific hobbies that might not necessarily be involved in acting at all is also really important. I love like photography, and I love hanging out with people. I love writing. I love so many things, and most of them only tie to acting in very, very small ways. And I feel like that makes acting as a job and also for fun a lot more of like a separate thing that I do, and it's not everything in my entire life, because I feel like that's a little overwhelming. So that's what I
So what do you think for someone like her that says that she wants to, let's say she wants to go home right now, and what's something I can do tonight before I go to bed that can get me one step closer? What's a first step type of thing that you would suggest to somebody that wants to start getting on that path?
Yeah, I would say if not already, definitely look at all of the places that support the arts or create art in your community. I got started by doing community theater when I was really little, and it was just a place right down the road, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because I feel like I learned everything just from being a part of a huge community so close to me. And I think that finding one that is right around you, literally surrounding you without you knowing it, just waiting for you. And I think that finding your way into that group is probably a really good idea. If you had to do it right now, tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So are you going to be here for the rest of the day? Are you having to leave early, or are you going to be here?
I am going to be here. I have photos at 2, and it's probably almost 2. So
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there for a while. I'll be back at my table. I'll be kind of all around. I've also loved getting to look around. So It's been very fun.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have a question that you wanted to ask and you didn't, or if you just thought of something, you're like, oh man, I really want to know that one thing about this one other thing, she'll be back at her table after her photo ops, and you can probably continue the conversation there. So for now, let's give a big round of applause for Miss